And we are recording. So, welcome everybody. This is the inaugural edition to what I hope to have kind of like a quick Saturday morning chat for everyone to listen to while they're having their Saturday morning coffee. My first inaugural guest here is Rod here at RJ's Knives, and I can't think of a better first guest to have.
Well,
Rod,
thank you,
how are
Glenn.
you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're doing great. Doing great.
Fantastic.
So,
Fantastic.
I see reading in the news, and we talked about it a little bit last week. You got a little taste of the blizzard type weather out your way.
Yeah, just a little bit, but mostly for us, it was just hail. Would
Just
would
hail.
come?
Yeah,
Yeah. We'd get hail, and it would melt pretty fast.
yeah,
It was just pea size stuff.
sure.
Nothing too bad. Not like I'd seen in Texas, where it'll really
Oh,
mess with
yeah,
your car if you if you're not undercover.
yeah.
Yeah,
We had a hailstorm here in town. That's been about 4 years ago, and it destroyed every roof in town. It
yeah.
was great big jagged pieces of it. It
Oh,
wasn't even round. It was coming sideways, and it was jagged.
ouch.
Just a nasty hailstorm. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Mother Nature is not always kind. That's for
So
sure.
for anyone that's watching, I don't think it's any big secret that you and I have become pretty good friends here.
Well,
Uh,
that's news to me.
well, I didn't expect you to claim it publicly, but privately he'll call me friend.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's too
But
bad that we don't get along.
yeah, absolutely. But we have a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
uh, a lot of people maybe know. But just refresh our memory. What kind of got you interested in knives, and how long have you been, collecting knives? And
I've been interested in knives ever since I was a kid. I've always been fascinated with knives. I always liked I can remember, being a kid and when they'd show those old movies, on Saturday mornings and stuff like The Adventures of Robin Hood or, anything that had, any kind of fencing or sword fighting in it. I totally wanted to watch that. Pirate movies, anything like
sure.
that. Uh, Anything with knives and swords and stuff. It's always fascinated me, arms and armor and all that together,
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
it's
any movie with a pirate in it is a good movie, right?
pretty much. Yeah. Pretty
Yep,
much. Yeah, so that was kind of like where I started, and then of course, when I was in the Cub Scouts was when I got to handle my first real knife, and then when I was older, like the first two knives that I had, and this kind of is the same way my tastes are now. One of the knives that I got was I joined the NRA when I was a teenager, and they had an old timer that had
oh,
the NRA stamp on the main blade.
sure.
I I don't know where that knife went to. I wish I still had it.
Hmm.
Uh, but that was like my EDC carry all the time. But then when I started to get into hunting, I wanted a proper hunting knife, and so I talked my mom and dad into letting me work for a buck 112.
Okay.
And so that was my first lockback knife, and today I'm still kind of the same way that I like locking knives, and I still like slip joints too. So
Hmm.
it's just something that has always interested me. And I guess I really didn't become a serious collector until a couple of years ago. I'd probably say I've only really been a serious like where I'm collecting knives, not just to use knives, because I've always
Right.
bought knives, throughout my lifetime. But really, it's just in the last 3 or so years that I've really said, I want to be a collector. I want to have a collection of knives. I want to have different kinds of knives and different things. I'm still kind of in that, I guess, exploratory mode. I don't really have like a set uh, grouping or pattern or maker or something. I still like to sample from all over the place.
Sure. Sure.
You
That kind of mirrors me, Um, as a kid, and of course, our generation, we were kind of expected to always have a pocket knife on us,
Yeah,
and it's not that way, unfortunately, these days. We had pocket knives on us in school, and recess time, you might sit and whittle a stick, and nobody thought a thing about it. And now I think kids get in trouble for having a pair of nail clippers or something. But
Yeah, I think it has to do with personal responsibility
mhm,
being something that's both not taught, nor does it seem expected
sure,
in society anymore.
yeah.
Which that's really, I think, the crux of a lot of the problems that we're having.
Well, and it was my father and my older brothers that taught me how to use the knife and how to use it responsibly. And believe you me, if I was using my pocket knife irresponsibly, my father was all over me.
Oh,
And,
exactly.
and you're right. They just taught us responsibility and the use for it. It was just considered a tool. Uh,
Well, it also was a rite of passage
yeah,
that
yeah,
your parents, viewed you as a child, that you were responsible enough to have something that could cause harm, but they trusted you, that you were going to do the right thing
hmm,
and not use it in a destructive manner.
right,
So it was kind of a rite of passage and a coming of age thing. It was one of the steps you took to being an adult.
yeah.
It was one that I think all the boys kind of looked forward to, getting their first pocket knife
Hmm.
and that, being trusted with that.
Yeah. So it's been about 4 or 5 years now for me, when the knife bug just really bit me and bit me hard, and I went all in almost. And of
Yeah,
course, uh, I got bit by the buck bug really, really bad, and for better or worse. So,
right.
but so is there any? Now you mentioned your buck 112 Ranger. Are there any other bucks that you like to have, or are there some you were thinking about getting? Or
Oh yeah, there's a ton I'm thinking about getting.
that was a dumb question, wasn't it? Not
Not
a good
really,
question.
but it's kind of funny, with the 112 that I had, the story of that, really is that, like, when I left and went in the service, I kind of passed it down to my little brother, and he
Hmm.
had it.
Yeah.
And you know, years later, I mean, this is like a long time later, probably 25, 30 years had passed. I don't know if it was quite that long. Maybe it was closer to 20 years. But he came up to me and he had it. And he says, "Hey, do you want your old knife back?" And I was like, "Well, you've had it all this time." And he had younger boys that were becoming men and stuff. And I said, "You should keep it, show the kids how to use it and stuff like that." And boy, I could kick myself for letting that go. Of course, that
Sure.
was before I was in the collector mode. But I sure do wish I had my first buck back.
Yeah. I can
But
I can
it's in
understand.
but it's in the family still, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But he's not giving it back. So
Brothers, right?
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Sometimes
I know
you get
about
along,
brothers.
sometimes you get along, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
we won't even go into all that stuff. But
I guess the first real knife that I remember getting, and I still have, is my Boy Scout knife that I suppose I bought it in 73, 74, something like that. And
yeah.
I do still have that. It's funny because I had also bought a hobo knife, and
Oh,
it
okay.
it was the one piece that didn't break apart like some of them do, but it
Yeah.
just had a spoon that folded down one side and a fork
Right.
that. And I remember taking those to scout camp, and where that knife ended up, that's the one I wish I could find. And I have no
Right.
idea where it's at. It's gone, but yeah, I
Yeah.
still remember that old hobo knife out camping too.
Yeah.
And we used to go fishing a lot. Dad would take us fishing a lot, and you know, we'd go out and take a can of soup or a can of beans with us and build a little fire. So you always had your camp knife with your can opener on it, to open up your soup can or whatever to set on the fire. And
Right.
so, yeah, we just kind of grew up that way.
Yeah. To go back to the 112 story, is that, when I bought the 50th anniversary one this last year, I was so impressed again with having a 112. I definitely want to get some of the newer 112s. I'd like to get that one that I guess it's the Sport or the Pro Sport, the one that has the aluminum body and the micarta, and it's the
That could be.
S30B blade. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't kept up with them all,
yeah.
but yeah.
I would like to get one of those because I think that would just be a pretty cool knife, and you
Hmm.
can actually take that one apart, I guess, because it's built with screws
Yeah.
and stuff. So I thought that would be really neat to have, not only a representative of the original 112, but then where it's gone in the future,
Yeah.
to someplace we hadn't even thought of,
Yeah.
So
And
so
Buck
yeah,
Buck has done a pretty good job in the last few years of really upgrading and redesigning some of their classic knives, and they've been pretty innovative. They really have.
yeah,
So
and of course I still haven't got to have the funds for a custom buck, but there's probably at least one coming in the future.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have plans. I have plans, and we'll see if they happen.
We we have this discussion often, don't we? It's like,
Yeah, we
yeah, you
do.
want to buy one of those really nice ones, but then there goes your knife budget for 3, 4 months or whatever, and it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, there's so many knives I want to get. Do I want to outlay that much for just that one knife? But
Yeah, I think
yeah,
I'm really gonna have to be careful this year because we have had a lot of medical things and things that
yeah,
bite into the budget. So I'm gonna have to kind of
yeah,
be careful and pick and choose. Fortunately, I still have a back catalog to go through,
sure.
but yeah, I think in a way it kind of helps you when you have a back catalog of knives to go through that you could maybe spend some extra money on one
Hmm.
particularly nice knife, and
Yeah,
then you have other ones that you can show to fill in the gaps.
right, right.
Because I think that's one of the things is that I mean we're self-supporting channels. We're not getting a whole lot of industry support at this point. Hopefully someday that'll change and we'll get a lot more. But
Yeah, yeah.
for right now, a lot of the stuff is either stuff we've won on, giveaways or stuff we bought, or,
Hmm.
like I said, every once in a while, people will send us things, and that's pretty awesome. In fact, I was talking to KC from Knives Fast, and this last time when we were talking about Finch knives and stuff, and he has quite a bunch of Finches or whatever. So he's kind enough that he reached out to me and said, "Hey, if you'd like me to send you some to review, I'll send you out a
There
couple."
you
And I
go.
was like,
Yeah,
"Well, thank you very much. Yes, thank
yeah.
you." And
I
so
think
he's
that's something that, and I certainly didn't. I mean, I watched knife channels for many years.
mhm,
Um, the one thing I didn't think about was, a lot of these channels like us, we're buying our own knives.
right.
And when you're trying to have a channel and getting it growing, and that takes a lot of videos you have to produce, always have to have something fresh and something new. And yeah, it can bite into the wallet pretty bad. So
It can, and then it always
and
gets you when you buy something that you like and then somebody hates it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're
I've
like,
had that
"Oh, I
happen.
like that
Yeah,
one."
yeah.
So,
But
that
it,
gets you.
it's a it's just a wonderful time to be a member of the knife community.
It is. We have a great group of people that
We
actually
really
spend
do.
the time to, engage with us and, watch our videos. I can't be happier, with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, I think my theory is the more that we help every channel grow and the more we encourage new channels, it helps everybody. It helps the
Oh, yeah.
existing channels. It really helps the viewers. And
Yeah.
one thing I firmly believe that there's representatives from different knife companies that are checking out different knife reviews.
Yeah.
They're listening to the feedback, they're watching the comments. It
Yeah.
it may not always be apparent to us, or that something was changed because of a specific video or something. But I think they kind of watch the trends, and so the
Yeah.
more channels we have out there, the more people are commenting on videos on whether they like it and don't like it.
Right.
There's certainly so many knives out there. There's something out there for everyone.
Yeah,
And
and
you
it's
know,
just like Scab made a great point in his so you want to have a YouTube channel
yeah,
video
I saw
where he
that.
said that the Buck 110 there's literally 1,000 reviews on it on YouTube, but it doesn't have your review on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's it. Is a everybody's going to look at it, and some of it will be the same, and some of it will be different, and then
Yep.
people have their own personal stories or their family stories or whatever to add to a knife, and that
Hmm.
makes it even better.
It
When you
sure
can
does.
when you can
It
do
sure
that
does.
and kind of
So
personalize it.
we don't have to just talk about buck knives. I know you've got interest in a lot of knives. I happen to have two of yours here.
What? You still have them?
I still have them.
I thought you lost them.
No, I thought you would feel safe and secure knowing that I still have them. But I know
Yes,
this is one of your favorite pocket knives here,
it
the
is.
Roper Pecos, and I certainly understand why you enjoy. I've been enjoying carrying it, and I've
Yeah,
you know
tell me a little bit about your experience with it and what you're feeling and what you're getting out of that knife when you use it and stuff.
I like the blade shape.
I do too.
It's it really does seem to cut, and I'm not doing anything hard use. I'm not out trying to chop down trees with it or anything, but just your simple everyday EDC tasks.
Yeah,
Opening boxes. I mean, it cuts right through the tape. It's got that nice clip to it, and it just penetrates in well, and you can really open that tape up easy. Opening boxes. I did a short on this one. I was in a store, and some lady wanted some tags cut off of things she was buying, and the cashier didn't have any scissors or anything. I said, "Well, I can help you." And so I whipped out your little Pecos here and cut those tags off. And I think I was that lady's hero. But
there you go.
just for your simple everyday task, it's really nice. I did notice one thing is it's not southpaw friendly, is it? It
No,
only
not
has the
really.
thumb. It has
It's
the thumb stud on the one side,
yeah,
and it doesn't look like you can take it out and add another one either. I guess you could always put like one of those discs or something on top if you were
yeah,
take that out.
probably. I don't even know if it's possible if you could remove that
Yeah,
and screw it in on the other
I
side.
don't.
I don't
Yeah,
think so.
I think you'd almost have to drill it out
Yeah,
or
you'd have to
something.
drill it
But
out.
that was the only downside I
But
saw to it. I guess for
yeah.
a lefty, it would be a little more difficult. But even
But
then,
that
I'm sure
pocket
they
clip,
can.
that's on it doesn't get in the way either. A
No,
lot
it
of
doesn't.
people say it looks big or long, but it actually, it stays out of the way really
Well,
nicely,
it,
I think, you know.
it it sits down in the pocket really easy
Yeah.
and just slides down in there really nice. Yeah. So yeah, you will be getting it back. Don't worry. Matter of fact, I think my two for Tuesday this next Tuesday is going to be the review of the bird
Oh,
and trout along with the Pecos. So
nice.
that'll be my two for Tuesday because
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
overdue on reviews here.
looking forward to that.
Yeah. So now I know you're part of the Apex Pass Around group.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the Apex, pass around group is run by, oh gosh, let me look at my phone. His name is David, and he's got a YouTube channel, but he is basically he's QSP USA. He's
Okay.
the so when he you know it's Blade Banter. That's his channel,
Okay.
Blade Banter.
Okay.
Yeah. So he is basically in charge of that, and so QSP makes knives, and then they also are an OEM for other knife makers and other knife companies. And so when they get an agreement to pass some knives around, it goes through. I think right now it's probably 50 or 60 channels, but I mean they're all like super well-known channels, and I was
Hmm.
fortunate enough that I was invited to come into into the group. And so what happens then is that they send us knives to, basically you see the knife first, and they send out a notice and says, like, we have, this QSP knife, do you want to review it? You can sign up to review it or not if you just don't feel it's something you want to look at. And then they make up a list, and each person has the knife for, 7 to 10 days is what they shoot for. And then you mail it on to the next person after you're done looking at it.
So it gives you an opportunity to check out some of the latest models. And
yes. Yeah. So it's helped me to be able to look at more modern knives and some newer knives, and certainly knives that are kind of out of my price range,
sure.
that I wouldn't necessarily be able to purchase some of them. But when I see those knives and I see what goes into them, I'm not saying they're not worth the cost. I'm just saying I can't afford it.
Right, I hear you.
but
Yeah.
but they're really neat, and it's cool, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to be able to see that and be a part of that.
So does it help you out when you're reviewing a traditional slip joint or something more traditional, to look at the modern knives and then go back to the slip joint and say, wow, I see how this evolved into that, or how,
Yeah, you can see
does it
how
give
stuff
you
has,
just a
certainly.
better understanding overall of cutlery?
Yeah, I think it does. You see what's stayed the same, and you see what's changed. And so you can see, like, on, say, a Stockman knife, right? You'll look at a Stockman knife and they have a sheep's foot blade, and then you look at something like the QSP Penguin, for instance, and it looks like a big sheep's foot blade to me, but they
Hmm.
call it Warncliffe or whatever.
Sure.
Uh, I have today I was carrying this for St. Patty's Day. This is my petrified fish, because it's a nice green knife, but it's got a clip point, and clip points are something that have been around forever, and they still work, and people still like them.
Hmm. Yep.
So you see the blade shapes that still appeal to people, and then you see like some of the modern materials and stuff. And really, that's,
Hmm.
I think, what's changed the most is the method of construction of between a modern knife and a slip joint knife. Uh, but really, when you get down to it, the tasks that we're doing are still the same, or maybe even less than
Hmm.
what our forefathers needed, way back when.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's I don't know how to say it. It's just, but you can kind of see how it's flowing, how that the moderns looking back, especially like with Finch knives. That's one of the things that they really have tried to do, is have a traditional kind of a knife, but it's modern construction, and it's a modern knife. It's a flipper knife, but it calls back to a certain time, like the 1929. If you ask me, it looks like a flipping version of a Barlow,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. Or you look at the stuff, like they came out with the Hatfield was their most recent one, and kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. They're going back to the Hatfield and McCoy feud, and so they make it a gun stock pattern.
Sure.
But it's a flipper
Yeah.
knife, and it's 154 cm, and it's got a pocket clip, and and it's a fantastic knife. Or even the buffalo tooth, which
Hmm.
I reviewed, and that was going back to the sunfish or the elephant toe. They took
Hmm.
their idea of it and they called it a buffalo tooth. So it's kind of fun, and I think they do a really neat job, because they call back to certain things. Either they're going back to, like, early American history, or basically like from the West, forward, or they're calling back to the national parks. That's what their 1929 and 1939 series are. Those dates
Hmm.
coincide with national parks, and then they're also fishing lures. Like their first one that they came out with, the Runtley, was based off of the fishing lure of the runt. So
Hmm.
it's got a kind of interesting take on how they design knives and what their thought patterns are for it, and it's what makes Finch, I think, a really cool company to collect. And you can see why a
Mhm.
lot of people like their knives, and the construction of them is perfect. I
Yeah,
mean, they really are. You look at them, fit and finish is really nice, and then 154 CM is just a great steel, and that's what most of their stuff is. I think the other ones they came out with were the 14C28 and stainless. So those were a couple of their different knives, and those are good. That's a good steel too.
yeah,
So definitely good stuff.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know how long we've been going. I've been wanting to kind of keep these to a half hour. I think we're probably there or past it
Yeah, we're
already.
well, we're at 25 minutes.
We're at 25 minutes, so we got another 5 or 10 minutes here. I did I did make a little bit of a foray into a modern buck knife,
Yeah,
uh, the Buck Sprint Pro Ops. I'm really liking the knife, really nice liking it.
that is a
But
good one.
this is what they're calling this a drop point blade. So it just kind of gets
Right,
back to there really are no new blade shapes. They're just modifying them and
right.
you know
As long as you put modified in there, then you're good.
you can call it whatever you want. That's right. So, but yeah. So I can understand why people like
Yep.
the moderns,
But
but
before we go, I was carrying my case trapper today too.
oh great. Yeah.
I always carry a slip joint and a locking knife. It
Yeah.
just kind of
Yeah.
depends on what I got. So you got your nice clip blade there, and then the spay. Which, to tell you the truth, when you look at the nose on this one, I don't know if you can see it well in the light, but when you hold up your drop point on that buck, uh, if you notice, it's got the same slant.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, that's what I'm
Completely.
saying.
Yeah.
So I think they're calling it
I don't know if that helps it better or
um
not. I
it
got some
does.
reflection. Yeah. So you can
So
kind of
yeah.
see that
it-
that nose on yours is the same as the nose on this one, which
yeah.
is kind of funny. You
So
know.
they call this a drop point, but yeah, it could very well be called a
Right.
spay or a reverse tanto or whatever you want to
Right.
say.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
look at a 940 Osborne from Benchmade, looks a lot like a spay blade.
Hmm.
Which is not a bad thing.
That's right. That's right. So if there's anyone out there that's watching that was thinking about starting a knife channel, what advice would you give them?
Just do it. Just do it. I think you should, jump in there, record some videos, reach out to us. We'll be glad to look at your videos, and if we can give you some advice, if there's something that we see that you could do better or something, we will help you, and we'll give you shout outs and other stuff to try to get everybody looking at your channel.
You know,
But just remember that your channel is your channel. So don't do whatever you think other people want to see or whatever. Just do what you want to do, and enjoy yourself.
and
Make
it takes
sure it's
practice.
fun.
It takes
Yeah,
practice. Now
it'll
there
take
may
a
be,
while before you
yeah,
find your voice. That's for sure.
yeah, there may be those that come to it naturally, duck to water. But I would say for most of us, it took us, 6 months of making
Yeah,
videos before we really felt comfortable. I know when I first got started, I was nervous and I wanted everything to be just perfect. And
yeah,
you got to let that go and just be yourself and have fun and
yeah. Because
do it your way. So
we want to see what you have.
yeah, yeah,
We're
exactly.
knife guys. We don't have all the knives, so we want to see what
No,
ones you have.
oh, isn't that the truth? I was just doing some buck knife research today, and just the hundreds of different models of buck knives.
Right.
I could collect my whole life. If I just started at 10 years old, I still don't think I probably would have had them all,
Yeah.
by this point. There's just, and that's just one company,
I know. And
you
even
know, and
last night I was looking at Instagram and I saw a case trapper that I never even knew existed, and I really
mhm.
wish I did know about it way back when. I would have got one, but you know, but yeah, they don't.
And if you knew what they'd have been worth, you'd have bought 10 of them, right?
At least.
Hindsight.
Exactly.
hindsight. So
That's it.
well, RJ, thank you so much for being my test subject here, my guinea pig, and for
You're
everyone
welcome.
that's watching, please leave a comment below if you like this format. If it's too long, too short, just let me know. I want to develop this series, um, as RJ does with RJ's Live. So tell us about your live program.
Sure. Once a week, I get together with my YouTube friends, which I am honored to be able to call them my friends. But it started off as a weekly live program just to talk about knives and knife related topics. Tom got involved early on, and then I've added a rotating panel of guests, anywhere from 4 to 6 every week, and we just get together and just have fun. We talk about knives for a couple hours, and or anything else we want to talk about, and we just have fun. And one of the really great things is that Patty has joined us,
Yeah,
and having Patty's potato peelers is such an honor, and it just makes me and Tom, it makes our weeks really
it
that we
does.
get to hang out with Patty for a couple hours.
Yep, absolutely. And then you have some promotional type things too. You have a promotional code for Roper. You want to
Yeah.
tell folks about that?
Sure. I reached out to the folks at ABKT, American Buffalo Knife and Tool. They are who makes Roper knives and Cattleman's Cutlery. And I talked to them, and they were kind enough to give me a discount code that will get you 20% off anything at their website. And that's code RJS. And so you use that at checkout, and that'll take 20% off your order and get you some really neat knives. And they make other stuff too. They have everything from modern to traditional, and even their multi-tool that they make.
Sure.
That's
And you offer memberships to your channel also too, right?
Yes. If you would like to join the channel, when you're watching my channel, there's a little join button there, and that would make you a part of RJ's regiment. And we have different levels of membership, and that all goes to help support the channel and to bring out great content and great knives and stuff for everybody.
And lastly, I know you have some merchandise also. You want to speak to that for just a moment?
Yes, I have a little store that's with the channel that you can click on the link there, and it'll take you to my store. And I have some RJ's Knives logoed apparel and cups and stuff of that nature. So if you're interested in supporting the channel that way, that's another way that you can do it and get yourself some sweet merchandise and rep your favorite knife channel.
There you go. Absolutely. I highly recommend each and every one of those steps he just outlined there. And of course, as you're watching this channel, always hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Um, that doesn't cost a penny to hit the like button and to leave a comment. And we all love
It's
to read the comments, don't we?
Yes, it's much appreciated. I know you do, and I do too. We go through and we answer each and every comment that we get.
Hmm.
Uh, One of the other things I was going to say is in my description box, I have a list of channels that you know basically some are big, some are small, but I always try to keep a list of channels and stuff for people to look at and kind of to promote the smaller channels and stuff. So if you go there and you see something new, click on one of those channels, give them a watch, and see if that's a good fit for you, if that's something you might want to watch on a weekly basis or not.
Yeah. So as we wrap up here, we're pre-recording this, and I'm hoping to have this up Saturday morning. Um, so Saturday, March 18th, you're going to be on Big J's and Boston Blade Reviews live show. And
That's
then, of
true.
course, then on Sunday, again, RJ's live, and that's 12:30 Central Time, 10:30 Pacific. And so plenty more chances to catch RJ, his great channel. my friend, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to sit and have this little chat.
Well, thank you,
And
Tom.
to everyone that's viewing this, please leave a comment and let me know what you think of this format. Would you like to see more of it? A longer recording? Just let me know. This is just to help serve the knife community and to get everybody to know everybody even better. So, RJ,
Absolutely.
you have a fantastic evening.
All right. You too, Tom.
Okay, take care, my friend.
All right. We'll see you later.